E. It's a feeling like no other. The burning in your chest, the knot in your stomach, the ache that comes from knowing you've done something unforgivable. That's the moment I find myself in now. Telling you my story. It's not one I'm proud of. It's raw, it's painful, and it's the story of how I destroyed everything with a single mistake. I never thought this would be me. The one standing here, broken, trying to put the pieces of my life together. But here I am, trying to find the words to explain what happened, to beg for understanding. And yet knowing deep down that it's too late, because my husband, my best friend, my confidant, my soulmate, rejected my plea for reconciliation. And it's a rejection I can never undo. I thought I could fix it. I thought that somehow if I just told him how sorry I was, if I laid my heart bare, he would see the depth of my remorse and we could rebuild what I had broken. I had hoped he would forgive me, that he would give me another chance, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. It all started so innocently. At least, that's how I convinced myself at first. It was just a flirtation, a harmless exchange of words. It didn't mean anything, or so I thought. But deep down, I knew I was crossing a line. I knew I was putting myself in a situation I shouldn't be in. I was craving something I wasn't getting from my husband. And I convinced myself that I could handle it, that I could control it. But I couldn't. What happened next wasn't innocent. It was a betrayal. A betrayal so deep that I can never take it back. It started with a stolen kiss. And then it became more. The guilt, the shame, the adrenaline of sneaking around, it all fed into a craving for excitement, for something forbidden. But as much as I tried to convince myself that it was just about sex, it wasn't. It was about the emotional connection, the attention I was missing. I was starved for it. And then came the worst part. The part where I had to come clean. The moment when I had to face the truth. I don't even know why I did it. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was because I knew I couldn't live with the lie anymore. But one night when I was staring at my husband across the dinner table, I couldn't hold it in any longer. The weight of what I had done was suffocating me. I told him, I confessed. I told him everything. About the affair, about the lies, about the secret I had been carrying for months. I thought, in that moment, that maybe he would be hurt, maybe he would cry, maybe he would scream. But I also thought he would understand. I thought he would see how much I regretted it. I thought he would see the desperate plea in my eyes and that somehow, that would be enough to make him stay. But that wasn't what happened. His eyes went cold. The warmth that had always been there when he looked at me was gone. The love that had once shone so brightly was replaced by something else. Disappointment, pain, and worst of all, anger. He didn't say anything for a long time. He just stared at me, and I could feel the weight of his silence pressing down on me. And then finally he spoke. But it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't anger or rage. It wasn't a confrontation. Instead, he simply said, "I don't know if I can forgive you." I had never felt so small in my entire life. I had expected anger, sure. But this was worse. This was the crushing weight of knowing that I had lost his trust. That I had destroyed something irreplaceable, something that had taken years to build. And yet, I was still clinging to the hope that he would come around. That if I just showed him how sorry I was, how much I loved him, he would somehow see past what I had done. But I was wrong. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. I tried everything to make him see the sincerity of my regret. I begged, I pleaded, I cried. I apologized over and over again, hoping that somehow it would break through the wall he had put up around his heart. But with every apology, with every tear, he seemed to pull further away. And then, one night, it happened. I had stayed late at work, hoping to find the right words to say to him, hoping that if I just had one more chance, one more moment to talk to him, I could convince him that I wasn't the person who had betrayed him. I thought if I could just explain myself, he would understand. But when I came home, I found him packing his things. He wasn't shouting. He wasn't throwing things. He wasn't angry. But the coldness in his eyes, the utter lack of emotion, cut deeper than anything he could have said. "I can't keep doing this," he said quietly. "I can't keep pretending like everything is okay when I know you've lied to me." It was as though my world collapsed in that moment. I had never imagined that he would leave me, that he would walk away. I had begged him not to. I had begged him to give us a chance, to try to fix what I had broken. But no matter how hard I tried, he had made his decision. He rejected me. And in that moment, I realized how far gone we were. I realized that no matter how much I wanted to fix it, no matter how sorry I was, the damage had already been done. He wasn't rejecting me because he didn't love me. He was rejecting me because he couldn't trust me anymore. He was rejecting me because I had shown him a side of myself that he couldn't unsee. The woman who had betrayed him. I begged him to stay. I begged him to reconsider. But he didn't. He walked out of that door, leaving me with nothing but the weight of my own guilt and the silence of a broken home. And here I am now, telling you this story. I never wanted this. I never wanted to be the one who destroyed my marriage. I never wanted to be the one who betrayed the man I loved. But in the end, I did. I betrayed him. I broke him. And now I have to live with the consequences. You might be wondering if he'll ever come back, if there's any hope for us. And the truth is, I don't know. I wish I could say that everything will be okay, that we'll somehow find a way to heal and rebuild, but I don't know if that's possible. What I do know is that I can't undo the damage I've done. And I can't make him forgive me, no matter how much I want him to. The hardest part is knowing that I had the chance to stop it. I had the chance to make things right before it all spiraled out of control. But I chose wrong, and now I'm paying the price. I've learned the hardest lesson of all. Some mistakes are unforgivable. Some wounds are too deep to heal, and sometimes love just isn't enough. The nights are the hardest. The silence is deafening. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything over and over in my mind. What if I had done things differently? What if I hadn't ignored the warning signs, hadn't sought validation from someone else? What if I had just stopped and thought before acting? Could I have saved my marriage? Could I have saved us? I keep asking myself if I should have tried harder to communicate, if I should have given him more of my attention, more of my love, when he needed it the most. But I didn't. And now, as I lay here alone, the weight of my mistakes is crushing me. Every day I carry this burden, this regret, and no matter how many times I apologize, no matter how many tears I shed, it doesn't change the fact that he is gone. I remember the last conversation we had before he left. I begged him, truly, desperately begged him, to give us a chance. I told him I would do anything. I would go to therapy, I would change, I would prove that I was worthy of his trust again. I promised him that I could fix myself, that I could become the woman he had fallen in love with. But he just stood there, his expression unreadable, his body stiff as if he had already made up his mind long before I opened my mouth. "I need time," he had said. But the look in his eyes told me everything I needed to know. He was done. And even though he said he needed time, I could feel it, the finality in his words, the closure that I had been dreading. It was too late. And then he left. I remember standing there, alone in the empty house, not knowing what to do. It was as if the walls themselves were closing in on me. The very air thick with the weight of my guilt. How did I get here? How did I let this happen? Was my moment of weakness worth all of this? Was a fleeting connection worth the destruction of everything we had built? I don't know. All I know now is that he's gone, and I am left with nothing but a shattered version of myself. I see myself through his eyes, and I don't like the person I see. I betrayed the man I loved, and in doing so, I lost him. There's no coming back from that. I wish I could say I could change everything, take it all back, but I can't. The damage has been done. Every day I find myself fighting the urge to pick up the phone and call him, to beg him for another chance, but I know it won't help. He doesn't want to hear from me, and deep down I know it's for the best. We both need time to heal. But the truth is, I don't know if we'll ever heal from this. I don't know if we can ever go back to being the people we once were. And even though I know he's moved on, even though I know he's not coming back, there's a part of me that still hopes. It's pathetic, I know. I still cling to the idea that somehow, some way he'll look at me with those loving eyes again and forgive me. But that's a fantasy. And it's one I need to let go of. There's another part of me that wonders how he's doing. Is he happy now? Is he at peace? Has he found someone who treats him the way he deserves to be treated? I hope so. I truly do. Because he deserves happiness. He deserves someone who will never betray him. Someone who will never make him feel the way I made him feel. But that doesn't stop the pain. The loneliness, the emptiness that fills me every single day. I think about the things we had, the plans we made. We were supposed to grow old together, weren't we? We were supposed to take care of each other through thick and thin. But now, all of those dreams seem like distant memories, just a cruel reminder of what we've lost. And the hardest part? The hardest part is knowing that I'll never get closure. He's moved on, and I can't get him back. I'll never be able to look into his eyes and hear him say that everything will be okay. There's no more forgiveness to ask for. No more apologies to offer. There's nothing left to say. And that is a kind of pain that doesn't have a remedy. I wish I could say that I'm okay, that I've moved on, but I haven't. I don't know if I ever will. The guilt of knowing that I threw everything away for a fleeting moment of excitement, for a lie that I convinced myself was harmless, it's something I'll carry with me forever. And maybe that's what I deserve. Maybe I'll never get over this. Maybe I'll never be whole again. I want to tell all of you that everything works out in the end, that if you make the same mistake I did, there's always a way to fix it. But the truth is, there might not be. Some things are too broken to fix. Some people are too hurt to forgive. I don't have any easy answers. I don't have a happy ending to offer. All I can do is share my story and hope that it serves as a warning, a reminder that the choices we make have consequences. Sometimes those consequences are irreversible. Maybe, just maybe. It's better to be honest from the start, to communicate, to work through the issues, to never take someone for granted. Because once the trust is gone, once the betrayal is out in the open, it's not something that can be repaired with words alone. The pain runs deep, and even though you may want to make things right, sometimes the damage is too great to overcome. I don't know what the future holds for me. Maybe I'll heal, maybe I'll learn to forgive myself one day, but for now, all I have is the memory of what I lost and the reality that I will never get it back. So if you're listening to this, and if you've been in a similar situation, I want you to know this. Learn from my mistakes. Don't let the one person who loves you most walk away because of a moment of weakness. Don't throw away everything you've worked for. Because once it's gone, you may never be able to find your way back. And if you've been on the other side of the betrayal, if you've been the one left heartbroken and betrayed, know that your feelings are valid. You don't have to forgive, you don't have to forget, and it's okay to walk away if it's what's best for you. Your healing matters too. I hope one day I can forgive myself. I hope one day my husband can find peace. But for now, this is my truth, this is my regret.